It's September the 15th. Let's do this. How's it going? Welcome back. Once again, it is time for the Golden Age of DC Comics. 365 days where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me about 2 decades ago by one of my best friends. It has been surfing my coffee table ever since, providing me with a bounty of opportunities to have comic book shop style conversations, the kind I intend to recreate here with you right now. So pull up a chair, grab a cup of your favorite. Oh, this is Ethiopian Guji, freshly brewed. Oh, this is a great bean. Good. Oh, wow, good cuppa. Ah, awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The Golden Age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. The Silver Age between 1956 and 1970. The Bronze Age, I'm a Bronze Age baby myself, runs between 1970 and 1985. And the Copper Age begins in 1985. I get these definitions and standards from the most current edition of the Overstreet Price Guide. This is a great resource for any comic book fan to have, and I feel it's a really fair standard and a place to start with defining the ages. Like such as this. The same glossary says that the Copper Age runs from, say, 1984-85 to 1993, and which is the advent of the Image Comics, and also DC's Vertigo imprint starts. So it was a big time for comic books, and that we've been in a modern age since then. For 30 years. I think that's a bit too much. I think there's room to negotiate some better definitions. And yeah, it's one of the things I love to talk about on this show. I also will suggest to you 2 other books as well. Understanding Comics, The Invisible Art by Scott McCloud, and How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. I know we talk about the Golden Age of DC Comics, and Marvel didn't really even explode till the Silver Age. But, I mean, all the same, these are great books for anyone, not even new people, anyone of any age that love comic books. If you haven't read these 2 books, I mean, stop, drop, and giggle. You just got a good suggestion from a reputable source. There are links in the description to the Amazon pages for all 3 of these books. Seriously, this is a 2004 Abrams publication, written and curated by Chip Kidd, Geoff Spear, and Les Daniels. And yeah, I mean, we use this book for its intended purpose, a 365 days book. It is September the 15th, and we are going to open up to today's page, look at some comic book art from an antediluvian age. We're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. This is true. I also usually do something called the escapism caveat. I gave it its own video, its own space, its own place, and its own way to breathe and to air out. So check that out. It's about activism and its needs of advocacy and agenda and messaging versus escapism. You know, the ability to literally go to another space and to leave behind this world's problems just for a few moments through fiction, through gaming, through sports, or even going to church, or even so. Where's the balance? Where's the problem? And why so much? I lay it out, and so I would love to hear your comments in that video specifically and conversation. You are the most important part of this show, and I want you to know that. And I hope you're feeling well, and I hope you're clobbering your problems and not being clobbered by them. Let us get to this. Let's open up to today's date, and it is September the 15th. This is art by Louis Cazeneuve, and this is from More Fun Comics, number 89, March of 1943. The clever seal speeds away to return shortly with a group of huge manatees, or sea cows, sea-going mammals like himself. It's Aquaman, Arthur Curry, that's right, King of the Seven Seas, the Atlantean himself. Let's see. Give me a hand, boys. These swimmers are tuckered out, and I haven't got enough arms to keep them all up. Ark! Ooh! You know, so it looks like Aquaman is rescuing some kind of men overboard here, and has enlisted the local populations of manatees to help them out, save these people. Having his powers over fish and marine other animals too. Because mammals are not fish. But yeah, there we go. We got some some Aquaman here. Aquaman is very popular. I mean, the Jason Momoa movie made over $1 billion. Ladies seem to love Jason Momoa's Aquaman. So that's really cool. And that is a modern interpretation of the character. They kept all of his, his information, but they changed his trappings. You know what I mean? Literally the actor. It defies this literally blonde-haired, blue-eyed, half human, half Atlantean, and he's just, but they cast, I believe Jason Momoa is native Hawaiian, and so he's got like this Pacific Islander, look, very striking individual, man. I loved him in Dune. He plays Gurney Halleck, and if you know your Dune, that means we can have Jason Momoa for years. But I digress. Let's get to the matter at hand. It's about Aquaman, and his first appearance was in More Fun Comics number 73 in November of 1941. And it says here in the wiki, I need to wet my whistle. Oh, thank you so much. That's such a good cuppa. This character is a pastiche of the iconic Marvel Comics character Namor from the get-go. And back then, Marvel Comics, we don't talk about Marvel Comics too much, but it's fair game too, because back then they were timely comics, and one of their first superheroes were the Human Torch, the original Human Torch, and Namor, the Submariner. And Marvel Comics Marvel Comics number 1 debuted in October of 1939. And that was Namor's first appearance as well. Namor is getting an MCU update himself, but and as I like to say, I'm not going to get there's always a disquiet in my fellowship with the fandoms, especially upon deviation from original character source lore and material. But there has to be room for something, I guess. I mean, this is what we're getting, and hopefully it's good. And so Namor will be making his Marvel Cinematic Universe premiere in the upcoming Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. And they've changed the character a bit, but I mean, they got an actor, I believe he's a Mexican actor. He's a very good, or he's a Latino. And so they got so they've made, since Aquaman has already been, Jason Momoa's Aquaman specifically, as well as using Atlantis. It's not like it's copyrighted or anything, but Marvel doesn't want to use Atlantis as its backdrop for their Namor, for the MCU Namor. And fair enough. I mean, yeah, people know what Atlantis is, you don't yet. Hey, I get it, sure. But so this Namor is going to have Mesoamerican, if I'm saying that right. I hopefully one of my Latina, and if people out there can correct me, but yeah, some kind of like pre-Aztec culture of Central America, North and South, you know what I mean, Americas, and so to come from some kind of Aztec or Olmec or civilization, and have all the trappings of that too, culturally speaking, of course, like as Wakanda is to African culture, perhaps Namor is going to be to maybe a really stylized and idealized and romanticized kind of unified Mesoamerican culture that never existed in its own right. But this is art, this is interpretation, and So yeah, I know Aquaman was our page, but Namor was actually the inspiration for Aquaman. Yet it worked for what we call the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe, aka the movie universe, the Snyderverse, however you want to throw it out there. Jason Momoa's Aquaman sells, and he's a fun character as well. I'm actually gonna watch Zack Snyder's 4-hour-long Justice League. I haven't watched it yet, and I feel it's time. You know what I mean? Why not? I'll bite. Maybe I'll watch it over 4 nights. You know, and it's 4 1-hour episodes, and it's and it's acts. Who knows? I hated the Joss Whedon version, but whatever. I'm a big Joss Whedon fan to begin with, and he, as I like to say, that you get on base a lot when you swing at the ball, and people who hit the ball also strike out a lot. That happens. So, Alien Resurrections, that was a strikeout. Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, that was a home run. I mean, that was the best applied use of the snappy Whedonisms in his pop culture of comic book and superheroes. That was perhaps the culmination of it. It was Age of Ultron. Check it out, and yeah, I mean, but Namor in the MCU, and allons-y, let's see what happens. Let's bring it on. Let's try it. As I'm off to say that MCU diverges always from the beginning, from the source material, from the get-go of 2008's Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr., where at the very end he says, "I am Iron Man." There were decades of comic books where he kept his identity secret, and especially from his teammates, the Avengers. And I don't know if Steve was playing along or not, but Captain America never knew that Mr. Stark was actually his friend Iron Man for years. Yeah, and so it's diverged since day one. And Jarvis is a human butler for Avengers Mansion. That's who Jarvis is. It's not Paul Bettany's disembodied voice for a few on Tony's OS, and then becomes manifest as Vision. Vision himself. I mean, that was Hank Pym's creation, not Tony Stark's. Or rather, Ultron was Hank Pym's invention. Vision remains Ultron's creation. Sorry, duh. I love talking about comic books. Do you? I hope you do, because we have been. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We talk about comic books every day. We've done it every day so far this year. We're gonna try to do it. We're gonna do or do not. There is no try. Yoda. Dough or donut. There is no try. Yoda J. Simpson. But yeah, we're going to talk about comic books the rest of the year. Check out the playlist of how to get into comic books, and we have every episode in that folder. Check it out. I make soup videos. I'm also known as the Sultan of Soup. If Wes from Thinking Critical sent you, mention Wes or Doc and get 50% off your next bowl of soup with the Sultan of Soup. Check out my What's Cooking playlist. I'm called the Sultan of Soup for a reason. And check out some delicious, nutritious, and beautiful food. And hopefully you make it at home too. And thank you so much for tuning in. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. All right. Bye-bye. Cheers.